Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Know It Alls Talk Ball podcast. This is going to be a little preview of the quarterfinals. I hope your World Cup fever is still very, very high, just like with us, even though we missed. We missed 2 days and it felt like an eternity, like these 2 days without any World Cup
I got a lot of stuff done, huh?
Yeah, finally, right? Finally back to doing something. But yeah, so we're just going to run through these games. It's going to be like predictions, a little bit talking about the teams, but mostly just like talking about how excited we are for these games because I feel like we got a lot of good, like all 4 games are pretty good, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think let's start with Croatia, Brazil, yeah?
That's the first one, right?
Yeah. One thing that sort of caught my eye through the round of 16 matches is that if the group stage was like the underdogs threatening the big guys.
Yeah, the round of 16 killed that narrative.
Yeah, the round of 16 was like the big dogs are here to stay,
Yeah.
apart from Spain. But I think that's one, at least I think we had it down as...
Morocco winning.
Yeah, Morocco
At
winning.
least like we didn't do round of 16 predictions, but we did like between us, and we both said Morocco would win.
I think we got every single game right.
The only one I didn't get right was Croatia. I thought Japan would win.
Okay.
In my defense, Japan definitely outplayed Croatia. Since we're talking about this, I think Croatia have been easily, from the 8 teams left, the worst one that's made it.
Yeah, if they beat Brazil, I would be...
Then maybe they're destined to win it. Maybe
Yeah.
they're destined to win it because like they've scored 4 goals in the tournament, which is like okay, but it's not considering they scored it in one game. So they beat Canada 4-1, and then they drew 0-0 to Morocco. No, sorry, to what was the other team? Belgium.
Wait, but was Japan, Croatia a goalless game?
Yeah,
forget
it was
now,
0. No, it was 1-1. Sorry.
Yeah.
So they scored 5 goals. It was 1-1. Yeah, Perisic scored the header. So they haven't really scored much. And I think like what we saw that shocked me a lot from the game against Japan was that Modric was taken off. And I don't know if that was because of a respect thing, since like clearly it's his last World Cup. I mean, he's what, 39 or something like that, 38.
He's
30,
old.
So he's old. He's old.
In those 37, 38.
He's old, so
Yeah.
clearly it's his last World Cup. I don't know if the coach took him out to do like a little like, oh, respect like to his game because we might be out.
Nah, I can't imagine that you'd want
No.
to. As a player, I'd be like, leave me on.
And that makes me think that maybe he's, like 90 minutes, sure, but 120, like that's pushing it. And we're asking this guy to play like a really physical game against Brazil. That midfield is still stacked, with Kovacic, Brozovic, and Modric.
Brazil, they've got Casemiro.
Paqueta has been playing,
That's
and
good. And
who else has been playing with them? It's been Paqueta,
Guimaraes hasn't been
Casemiro.
playing, has
No,
he?
Bruno
No.
Fred also hasn't been playing.
yeah, who's
Oh
in
no,
the-
because they play 4-2-3-1,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I think. But yeah, so I think Brazil were outstanding against South Korea. I mean,
it was pretty one-sided.
Super one-sided,
They
wasn't
never
it?
really had a look in Korea. But let's get to a prediction. I think we're both going Brazil winning. I think that's a given.
Yeah, I think that Croatia could frustrate them the way that they frustrated other teams, and like I don't know if Croatia themselves, like obviously when you're at this point, you must believe that you can win the whole thing, right? Like you've gotten
You
this
have to.
far, you
You
have to
have to.
believe that you can win the whole thing. But Croatia just don't impress me at all.
No.
Like especially going forward, like I think defensively, like Gvardiol has been one of the breakout players.
One of the reasons that they're still there.
Yeah,
really,
I mean,
yeah.
and when you think about it, like Croatia is like 3 times they were millimeters away from being knocked out. Like if Lukaku puts one of those away, they're out.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
looking at a team that has just been like basically like just dragging their ass
On
through
the
finish
brink
line.
of elimination
Yeah,
every single time. Yeah,
And if
yeah.
it wasn't that Japan just like forgot how to take penalties, because those were like 3 or 4, however many they missed, of the worst penalties
They
I've
were
seen up
really
until
bad.
Spain's penalties.
What? We've had 2 penalty shootouts, and it has been shocking penalties. But
There's been one that's been like so like it seems like they trained penalties like for 3 months, and once I didn't even know penalties were a possibility.
Yeah,
That's what it
it's
looked
just-
like. But okay, so
Score?
predictions. I'm going 3-0 Brazil. I think that they head to the semifinal on a high, and I think that we say goodbye to Modric's international career.
Yeah. Sad but necessary. I think I'm going to go the same. 3-0. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold them off for maybe even a whole half.
Yeah, you think so?
But yeah, I think once the first
goal,
goal
right?
goes in, then the floodgates will open a little
Yeah,
bit.
I just don't see how they can cope with that attack. Like the way Richarlison's playing, Vinny's been playing really well. Rafinha's finally playing really well. Like he started off kind of poor, and now he really picked it up against South Korea. So yeah, I don't see how Brazil is gonna not be in the semifinal, basically.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the big one. The
Netherlands,
one that we predicted ourselves in our
Argentina.
pre-World Cup predictions. We did have this game happening.
I think I probably had Argentina going through. Then.
I definitely did.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
know
had
you did,
Argentina
yeah.
winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had them going through as well. But I'm
now
gonna,
the game's here, like
I'm gonna change my prediction.
I don't blame you. I mean, the pre-World Cup is completely different to the middle, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think? Let's talk about the Netherlands for a bit. What do you think about the team? Because there's two sides to it, right? Some people hate it, some people love it.
I think, I mean, I've talked a lot of shit to you about a number of players in that team, and also
Particularly
just
Daily Blind.
Daily Blind, yeah, and then he goes and has a great game against
Insane assist.
USA.
Beautiful assist.
No, but like, I don't see enough quality in that team to begin with.
Okay, like individual talent, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we either have players that are bonkers good, like elite, like Van Dijk, De Jong, maybe even Gakpo. You could throw in there, maybe in like a year or so.
You could even throw in Memphis in there.
Memphis is
on
an
his
elite
day is
player.
an elite forward.
Exactly. But then you also players like Daily Blind who are so far past their prime that it's not. And then you've got the rest of them are pretty much all Eredivisie players.
Davy Klaassen,
Yeah.
Koop Miners has been okay.
Yeah.
I think what Koop Miners does well is that he allows Frankie to be more free.
Yeah.
Right, and I think like when Frankie's going up and down, he's way more effective than just holding. And I think that's why he plays him. Klaassen, I'm still not 100% sure why he plays him.
Me neither. But he doesn't have a choice at this point because you can't put in Simmons now. You can't put in players that you haven't played the whole tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, I think this is probably Van Gaal's way of playing. I mean, it better be because otherwise it's just like it's
what
just
is going on?
Yeah,
It's
because
chaos.
you had moments in that game against USA. I was only able to watch one half, but you had moments where it was like there was room to run into and there was room to go forward and there were gaps in the midfield to break the line and go forward.
Yeah.
But they just did nothing with it, you know? And granted, when they did go forward, they absolutely nailed it.
I mean, their transition football, that game was beautiful.
really
to
good,
watch.
yeah.
Like that first goal, we watch it. I don't know if you watch it at home, what type of sort of halftime show you get. But when we watched it, the Dutch, the NOS, the Dutch coverage, they showed that the first goal, every player touched the ball, 22 passes to Depay's finish.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
Like one of the goals of the tournament, in my opinion. Yeah. But I think also the U.S. is a different animal to... Well, Argentina is a different animal to the U.S. The U.S., I think their big issue in that game was that they pressed as individuals and not as a team. You'd see players like step out completely out of position and then leave a huge gap, which allowed the Netherlands to sort of move through. I think Argentina is structurally better than the U.S., of course. Although I can't say that I'm like overflowing with confidence because Argentina, I feel like we had our worst game against Saudi Arabia. Then we played Mexico, had a really good second half. Then Poland was our best game. Then Australia, I felt like we took a little step back. Some of the things I was seeing against Mexico and I was seeing against Saudi Arabia, particularly the disconnection between our defense and our midfield. I feel like the amount of times you see the ball go from our left back all the way across the line to our right back and then all the way back. And for some reason, the midfields, which we have 3, are all the way up. Like, and then Messi has to drop. Like, I get, like, of course, I'm not a football coach, so Scaloni knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
but
could be.
But yeah, he might know what's going on. But like, I don't know. I'm scared though. I'm scared. One thing I have to say
Well, we're both. One of us is going to come out of this absolutely distraught.
Yeah. But I do think I want to say the Dutch media has been extremely, extremely harsh on Argentina.
How do you understand you don't speak Dutch?
Well, no, because thankfully I follow a Twitter account that translates everything, right? So he's like a big shout out to the European lad. And he's been quoting what Van der Vaart, particularly ex-players, have been saying about Argentina. This is nothing against Van Gaal or the players, because the players themselves have been very, like, obviously respectful. Like, just with Argentina, like, very respectful. Like, you're in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Like, you have to be good. But Van der Vaart saying that, like, we're nothing without Messi. Like, that Messi's our only player. Like, we have the same. Like, you have players playing in the Eredivisie. All our players play in Europe.
Did he say, yeah, obviously you guys have a lot more talent than just Messi. But I was just about to say, when you were saying that the game against Australia looked like a step back, I think team-wise it was, and Messi played one of the best games of individual football that I've ever seen.
Especially that second half.
Yeah, how we only came out of that game with 1 goal is a shock to me. But yeah, I can see what he says a little bit in that if you did watch that game against Australia.
Yeah, Messi had to carry us.
Yeah, it was Messi running every aspect of the play from top to bottom. It was
but that I also think goes into my point of the disrespect, because I've heard Rafa van der Vaart, Van Basten, and these guys say that, oh, just man mark him, like as if like no one's ever thought about man marking Messi. Like it's like the plan everybody has, like man mark Messi. And what does he do? He splits them open.
Isn't that what Pep did when he was at Bayern and then Boateng got put on his butt.
Exactly. And it was so funny because Van der Vaart literally said, like, put Jurgen Timber on him. Timber should cover him. Timber, like, no offense, great center back, could go to United, could go to anywhere in the Premier League, and I think would start and do very well. He is not capable of stopping Messi by himself. Like, no, that Dutch defense has to be, like, perfect to stop the form that Messi's also on right now.
Nah, Timber's got him.
I don't know if Timber's
got him on lockdown.
Man.
He's going to have him in his back pocket.
And I think what's going to be key is the midfield, of course. Like, can Argentina handle Frankie moving in and out so much? Like, can the Netherlands defend against, Enzo Fernandez making runs or McAllister? And I think our biggest strength will be playing Julian Alvarez on the right. So he's immediately in front of Daley Blind. Yeah. And that forces Blind to have to play all the way back because he can't catch him on the counter. Like, if we catch him on the counter... I think Julian Alvarez down the right, Daley Blind is still like
I think
at the
Blind
corner.
Needs to just stick in his left back position
and not go up.
And just stick there like a brick. And just sort of you shall not pass sort of vibe, because man cannot go forward. Man can't even. I got so angry at the opening chance that Pulisic
2 minutes in.
2 minutes in, you're in a round of 16 World Cup match. And you're coming back, so they've just had like a corner or something, and he's so slow to get back online. He must have been about 2 meters from his closest defender.
He was playing everybody and his mom on side.
And he's just there, and you see him on the replay, and he's just dawdling back.
He doesn't even know what the ball
I don't even know if his brain is there to play football. Like it's ridiculous.
But then he pings those balls in, and Dumfries, I think,
he scores a goal. Like what the fuck?
Dumfries could be huge this game against Argentina. He's gonna have to play well, but he played very well last game. Although I think that's kind of the issue. Why Dumfries, despite all the amazing games that we see him with the Netherlands, he plays for Inter, don't get me wrong, but he's not like a guy who people saw as like, like Real Madrid, Barcelona, because he's very inconsistent. So
that's very true.
He has like a game like the last one where he scores a goal, 2 assists, and then maybe this game he does nothing. But it's gonna be super interesting.
Let's get into a score prediction.
I'm gonna say 1-0 Argentina.
Okay.
Messi free kick.
I'm gonna predict in Netherlands' favor just because I want to speak my prediction into existence. So I'm going 1-1. We're going revenge penalty style, baby.
Noppert.
Noppert and goal. It's gonna be 1-1, and then we're gonna win 3-1 on penalties.
3-1. Wow, we gotta miss a lot.
Yeah.
Could happen though.
Messi will miss his. It's kind of a given.
Probably. He's a little choker. I can't wait. I'm really not looking forward to it.
I am at the same time buzzing for tomorrow.
But I don't want it to be Friday. I don't want to do it.
I don't, because and I mean, you live in a house full of Dutch people.
Yeah, it's gonna get tough tomorrow.
And I'm gonna be there too. Yeah. So. at least if the Dutch lose, we can just beat the shit out of this guy and get over it, you know?
On record, I'm going to say it. If the Netherlands does beat Argentina, I'm 100% supporting the Netherlands. Like, I would want you guys to win.
I think the same for me if Argentina,
yeah.
because I would love to see, if it's not at the price of the Netherlands, I would love to see
Messi get it, right? And I think it'd be
yeah.
fun if the Netherlands, like, I have no other connection to any other country, and I would hate
Oh,
it if Brazil
mind you, Morocco.
Morocco would be sick. Morocco would be sick. Speaking of, let's get on to our next game. Let's talk about Morocco. So Rodri came out after he completed a World Cup record 207 passes in the game against Morocco, which is a ridiculous.
They had about 3 or 4 times. The team had 3 or 4 times as many passes.
I think they had over 1,000 passes again.
So many.
And Rodri came out and complained, saying that Morocco did nothing, that they didn't deserve the game.
It doesn't matter.
And also, like, if you're completing 207 passes, but you have a total of 8 shots in the game, clearly your passes, it's also not doing anything.
If you looked at if you watched the game, Morocco probably had the better chances.
I would agree. They probably deserved to win the game in full time.
In full time. In extra time, Spain had a couple where they got really close. But yeah, that was my opinion. That's a stupid comment from Rodri. For starters, it's football. Yeah, like that's how it works. Yeah, if a team sets up like that, you just got to find a way around it. And they just did not play that well.
No, and I thought that Morocco, some of the players, like their midfield. So his name is escaping me right now. The number 8 for Morocco, he is like a pit bull terrier. Like he does not stop running. He's like up and down, up and down. 120 minutes, he was everywhere. And Ambarat, not Abdel Ambarat, another one. Tall guy, bald with a beard, plays also CDM, I think. He has been incredible this World Cup. Like, he's a guy who I think could really, like, take... I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's, like, 35 and I'm talking shit. But if he's, like, 24, 25, he could be a pickup for anybody. He plays so tough, puts his whole into the game. Very good passer, very good defender, and a leader, you can tell. And I thought Hakimi chipping the penalty first of all, against the country he was born in. And doing so Ramos' celebration.
Yeah, and then emoting.
He did that like a little penguin. And he chipped it too. So the worst penalty ever. It was such a bad chip penalty.
It wasn't
great. I think if Unai Simon stood in the middle, he could have stopped it with his foot.
Oh, yeah.
But big ups to Morocco, you know?
I really hope Morocco do win this one.
But it's a rampant Portuguese side that we're seeing now.
Oh, that game. I mean, first I want to touch on one more thing about Morocco. Is Boufal in that first half was Messi on steroids. Insane. It was so good. Did you see the body feint that he did? Yeah. And sent the guy for a hot dog.
Yeah, I just feel like he's always been that guy. He's always been him.
Streets will never forget.
Streets exactly, but I feel all these Ziyech also a Streets will never forget.
All these Moroccan players.
All these Moroccan players are so good. And I'm really glad that they made it, because also it's not like, oh, it was shitty. Like, I would say that they deserve their spot over Croatia, for example, in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. I mean, they've beat they've beat
Belgium,
Spain, they beat Belgium. I mean,
drew to Croatia.
They definitely deserve to be here. But a little bit on Portugal. I think me and you were both absolutely. See, this is when I was editing our last video. I realized that we said. We were like, oh, we've given Serbia too much credit and Switzerland not enough. Yeah. And then Switzerland go and do that. Get absolutely destroyed. It's just something that I was not expecting going into that game.
Because when I saw it was 2-0 at halftime, right? I didn't watch the game. I watched like the sort of mini match, 26-minute highlight video. When I saw it was on my phone, it was 2-0. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. But I never in my life expected it to be a rout. I thought it's going to end like this. Like, my first thought was Portugal's going to shut shop 2-0. And then I checked my phone again, 6-1. Like, I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, what? And Ronaldo didn't score a single one?
I think I stopped watching it 3-0. And I was like, it's over. It's done for. And I was like, I'll probably stay like that, you know? Check back 5-1, check back again 6-1.
6-1. Like, what? And how I feel... I mean, Ronaldo's been a bit of a clown like this past month, really. Actually, maybe since he joined United. Since he joined United again.
It's been rough.
He's been a bit of a clown. But I do have to say, I feel for the guy. Like, everybody, like, they did a survey in a Portuguese newspaper. 75%, and I think it was somewhere around there, of the people in Portugal wanted Ronaldo to get dropped.
fully dropped?
Yeah, on the bench. Like
Okay.
not fully, like not on the squad, but on the bench. Like not starting. So already your country doesn't want you to play. Then your manager finally like has the balls to say, Ronaldo, you're on the bench. And then your backup scores a hat trick. Like,
Can you
what are the
imagine
odds?
the
What are the
fire that
odds?
was burning inside? Because
Oh my God.
if someone loves to score goals and hates other people taking his goals, it's Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know?
And Gonzalo Ramos, hey, in our second episode ever, I talked about him
You did?
for Benfica. I said, watch this
shit.
guy,
How old is he?
21 years old.
Sign him up.
I said,
Sign
watch
him
this
up.
guy. He's banging them in for
Yeah.
Benfica. He's banging them in the Champions League. He's having a really good season. First World Cup start, maybe even his first Portugal start, scores a hat trick. I
What
got to give
a
props to
beast.
myself.
Yeah.
But this game, I don't think will be that much of a rout. I think Morocco defend really well, and they're a tough team, and they play with a lot of heart.
I find this a really hard game to get a read on
Yeah.
and actually decide a score.
Because was it fluke? Was it legit? Like, what was that 6-1? Like, I don't know.
You can say that for both teams because
Yeah.
Portugal up until that Switzerland game hadn't really
No, they look pretty
Yeah.
uninspired.
they hadn't set the world alight, and then you have Morocco who have beaten two of the best teams in the world and have looked pretty good doing it and really well set up defensively. I think that's one thing that was really obvious against Spain.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Complete your million passes. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You can pass the ball
We're
around. for
comfortable
fun,
like
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a bit of a guess either way. I'm going to
It has
go.
to be a tight, like foot breaking type of game.
Oh yeah, that
I think
does.
they're gonna.
It, does have that
It
kind of
has
feel
the
to it.
feel of like
Yeah.
a 2 red card kind of
Yeah,
game.
yeah, a Dutch Portugal.
Yeah, kind of something like that.
Yeah, yeah. But let's. I'm gonna go.
I really want to say Morocco, man, but
Yeah, but I don't think. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1-0 Portugal.
for the sake of changing it up, I'm gonna go 1-0 Morocco after extra time. I
Nice,
think
I like it.
Hakimi in the back post, boom,
Nice.
gets it.
Love it. I would love to see that. By the way, I want to
Yeah,
go on
that'd be
record as saying
great.
that I would want Morocco
Morocco
to
to
absolutely. Wait, no. If Morocco did win that, then they would come up against the winner of England and France.
So we could
correct?
get a Netherlands Morocco final.
Can you imagine?
No,
the
I gotta get the
scenes?
fuck out of here,
It'd
man.
be a civil war.
I gotta get out of the Netherlands. Like they're gonna the war. It's gonna break in half the Netherlands.
I would be so down for it.
It would be
though.
great.
It'd be so much
It
fun.
would
Yeah.
be an awesome final.
But let's get on.
I think the people's game.
Yeah,
Like,
the-
and
the
myself,
neutrals
yeah,
game. We're
Myself,
looking for
like
this.
I think like because I'm nervous for Argentina, I'm actually looking forward to this game more.
Same. Yeah.
Because I'm so nervous about the Argentina game that this game is. I have it highlighted. Like this is like this could have been the final easily, England France, and I cannot tell you which way to go with it.
Yeah, because you have an England team that is playing incredibly well. You have a France team that is stacked and playing incredibly
incredibly
well.
Mbappe having a ridiculous tournament.
I don't know what
He's
that
been
guy's on.
on fire.
It's
Griezmann
absolutely-
has been amazing as well.
in the role that he's playing
As a 10?
he's
Oh
playing
my
He
God.
just pings balls around the
He's
pitch like
so
nobody's
good.
business.
Giroud
It's
is scoring goals.
He's
Like,
the top-
congratulations, broke TT
all-time France top scorer. You can't.
Who would have thought?
I
man?
mean,
who would have thought?
I think
like-
that kind of proves that he's a lot better than people give him credit for.
And and it also is like a nice story for like people that are still playing football at a low level, like at a professional level, but low. Because Giroud, I think when he was 26, he was playing in the 3rd division in France, and like now he's
26?
Yes.
When was he playing at Montpellier then?
Yeah, he must have been like 27 or something.
Wow.
Like, because
Yeah.
I feel like he's been 30 for 20 years.
You keep seeing a lot more of these stories where players hit their prime in their later career.
And what was the stat that we read during the Ballon d'Or? Like the last, 10 Ballon d'Or winners are all over 30. So
Yeah, I mean, Karim Benzema came the oldest ever.
winner. And he was going up against like Lewandowski, who's also old.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he was going up against like Mbappe. Sadio Mane is I think also over 30. Like
Yeah, and if you look at it, it's not just sort of confined to football in a way. If you look at all the sports around the world, you have the old guard just sitting in there for absolute ages. But we're getting way off track.
Yeah.
Here.
I was about to start talking about LeBron.
Exactly. One thing I want to say about England, and I'm going to say this straight into the camera, Harry Maguire why the fuck can you suddenly play football?
He's so
Like,
good.
why?
He's
he
been
is
one of England's
one of
best
the best
players.
It's ridiculous.
I think because he has confidence. I think he's a player. Some of these players, they need the team around them. They need the confidence. And I can't imagine what it's like to every time when you walk out at Old Trafford, like a historic stadium, you touch the ball and your fans are booing you. Like, I can't imagine.
I do more than boo him when I'm behind the
throw
TV
shit
watching.
at him. Throw a beer at his head.
Oh
He
man,
probably
I
wouldn't
just
feel it.
the amount of times that I've absolutely slated him, and rightfully so. Like
No,
he's
no,
absolute trash.
Yeah,
with
he
United.
was terrible.
And now he's playing really well, just like he did in the European Championship.
I mean, he makes the fact that Tomori wasn't called up like a long afterthought. Like you don't even think about Tomori.
Yeah.
Like it sucks that Tomori isn't even thought about, but it's because Maguire has been so good in that middle of defense. And I don't know if you saw the Southgate thing that he said for 2 years they've been planning like an Mbappe plan. Like 2 years ago
see how
they
it
got
goes,
together.
yeah.
I think it means you play Harry Kane up top and 10 to the right. You play everybody else on Mbappe's wing and just Harry Kane up top. And you just blast long balls over to Harry Kane.
I mean, I've seen in other tournaments that like England, they got far in the European Championships,
Yeah.
they got far in the last World Cup, but they weren't impressive to watch.
No.
This year,
They've
been very nice to watch.
And
yeah.
that might be because they have Jude Bellingham, who has been ridiculous. And he could be the reason why England win this game. The thing that like prevents me from like thinking of an actual prediction is that I think if England go down, that's it. I think if France go down, we
There's
can
more
still
chance
see
of-
both teams win it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if England, like considering the history of English football, like losing at these moments that people expect them to win. I don't know if they have the confidence if they go a goal, like let's say 25 minutes and Mbappe scores a goal. I don't know if the team has like the mental strength to like pull themselves up out of that 1-0 deficit.
I think yeah, you've got a fair point there, but I think as well, the difference between maybe this team and England teams that had, the likes of Frank Lampard, Stevie G,
right, the so-called
David,
golden generation.
the golden
of
generation.
England, yeah.
For starters, I think a lot of the players that are here now are better than.
Yeah, I think
or,
overall are the same.
Yeah.
I mean, or could have that type of career.
That type of,
right?
yeah, exactly. You still have a lot of young players in there. But also with this team is that they've already experienced that heartbreak. So I reckon if they do go down, they will. Those players, Saka, Rashford, the players that missed the penalties, the players that
Kane
didn't
as
miss the
well,
penalties,
Sterling,
they're
Grealish.
so hungry for this,
Yeah.
So I think if they do go down, there might be a bit in them that actually helps them, that brings a lot more fight out of them.
What I hope doesn't happen is that if England does score, that they don't do what they did against Italy and shut shop. Because
doesn't
this
work.
team is good enough to play football.
And get it 2-0, 3-0.
Yeah, this team is good enough to hit you on the counter, to play possession football. But like when you shut shop, especially against a team like France, you're going to concede chances after chances, and conceding chances to guys like Mbappe, to Giroud, to Griezmann, to Dembele, and then you get the bench, like all those fucking guys that are they're just turning.
You jug on the bench and they can still beat England.
And they can still they can play with their B team and beat.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't beat Tunisia, so maybe they can't beat England. But this is going to be such. I hope it's a good game and not like some boring game.
You can have sometimes that these games get a bit cagey.
I feel like that's what we might get with Argentina Netherlands tomorrow. I feel like
I think that has a very good chance of.
It has a
being
very
quite
like
cagey.
shit game written all over it.
The semi-final from
It was awful.
was terrible. It was 0-0, right?
It was 0-0. I think Robin was the only one that had a clear chance, and even
was
Mascherano
god-awful.
blocked it before he
Yeah.
got a shot off. So
Yeah.
like it wasn't. It was the worst game ever.
Yeah, but
let's go predictions. What do you think? I'm going England 2-1. Fuck it.
I'm
Foden.
gonna go England as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it as well.
Oh shit.
All right, let's go 3-1. I reckon they'll blow them away.
The only thing, I don't want a repeat champion. I don't like to wait 4 years for a World Cup just to
But
see
I
the
also don't
same
want
team
England to
pick it
win.
up. No, fuck that. But France winning
Oh
it
man,
is
if
a-
Harry Maguire, if I see him with a World Cup in his hand, I'm gonna be sick.
Man, if
Like,
Harry Maguire wins the World Cup, he comes back to Old Trafford and
Stop.
just has to. Ronaldo is there.
well, no, he's not.
No, yeah, he's not right. He's not anymore. Oh, Sancho.
Oof.
That's rough. That's rough. Like,
Oh well,
oh well. Should have played better.
tough titty. Yeah.
Tough titty. But that's it.
That's it.
That's
this,
our.
this has been a really fun episode.
Yeah, it
to
was.
make. Yeah.
It was.
I think it's hopefully a little bit shorter. Hopefully we haven't droned on for 40 minutes.
We thought we'd have it in 15, but I doubt
No,
that.
that's not even close. But thank you so much for joining us. We
Enjoy
will
the
see
games.
you again, hopefully for some semi-final predictions.
See you then.
That was a fun episode, man. Yeah.